Big win for Manchester United, a much needed victory and performance. An excellent display from Ten Hag's men. It truly, truly was. 3-0 on the night, through to the fourth round of the League Cup. And after what was an abysmal month, really, for the football club, a struggling, gritty, hard-fought win over Burnley at the weekend, Man United fans wanted a performance. They wanted to see dominance. They wanted to see, especially with the return of players like Mount and Amrabat, the future of Man United under Erik ten Hag. And are we the finished article? No. Are Manchester United at the peak of its potential powers? Absolutely not. But tonight, for an individual review, was nothing short of sensational. It was a sensational display, barely an opportunity afforded to Crystal Palace, not having a shot until nigh on the 70th minute of the game. Nearly 70% of the ball belonged to Manchester United in that match. The overall display was excellent. The way in which Amrabat inverted at times, Garnacho pulling out onto that left-hand side. You had Dalot coming on the inside, Palestri spreading the play really wide onto that right-hand side with the press resistance of Amrabat. And with Casemiro in the middle, it enabled the more attack-minded midfielders in Mount and Hannibal to influence the game where they could. And that switch from our left to our right-hand side generated 3 big opportunities in that first half. The third resulting in the first goal of the game to Garnacho, a very well-worked piece of football by the club. The wonderful ball from Mount, breaking those lines. Palestri with the reverse ball to Dalot, cuts it back across, and cutback goals should be bread and butter to a team like Man United. Bang, 1-0. And then from a corner, Mason Mount ends any hope of a 007 stat being applied against him. He gets the assist. Casemiro with his 4th goal of the season really set Manchester United on our way. And from that point, we really, really dominated. There was so much from a Man United fan's perspective to be happy about, proud of, and excited about when it comes to the future. Now, let's keep our feet on the ground. There's a lot more work to come. But we just dominated the ball so well. And as the game continued, Casemiro grew. He became stronger. He became more dominant. His passing range came back. He struggled in the early phases of the season. But you suddenly put an Amrabat next to him. You suddenly put a team into its familiar position with some balance. The team looked great. It really, really did. I was very impressed indeed with the overall performance. The third goal was just so well worked. A wonderful cross to that back post. And Martial, thought he did well when he came on against Bayern Munich last week in the Champions League. And I thought he played pretty well tonight. Also, an excellent finish on his left foot, sealed the deal for Manchester United. And then the big subs could be made. Donny van de Beek came on and, put in a decent performance. You did have Evans and you had Lindelof come onto the pitch from Mount and Varane, respectively. Plus, you had young Gore came on, who I thought really equipped himself well to his first senior appearance. And of course, Amrabat and Mount and Varane had to come off. They're being built back up to full fitness. But today we saw what Man United are capable of. We're playing a Premier League team with a lot of its first team players out there today. They brought more on at halftime as well. This was absolutely dominant and clinical from Manchester United. And I want to see more of the same. People have been going on about patterns of play. People have been talking about how will this team play football. And I could see it. And just interesting, a guy, and I'm not going to steal this. He said I could steal it and I could use it, but I'm not going to. I don't work that way. There's an account called United Tribune who we were just DMing each other about the style of play and how it looks. And I said to him, but look, it needs a buzzword. This is how we want to play. I think today we saw the blueprint of what the manager is trying to create. And this is what he sent to me. And I'm going to read what he said word for word here. I said, how would you break down what we're playing? And he called it the transitional overload system. And we both agreed it just needs a name. Otherwise, people say it doesn't exist. And he broke it down, and I thought he did it perfectly. He said that win the ball back high up the pitch with systematic pressing, work the ball 10 to 15 yards outside the corner flag, play triangles with either a winger or fullback and the 8 or the wing back and 9, switch the play quickly to free the 8 and or free the 9 who is dropping in, either penetrate quickly there if space opens up, or analyze quickly and move the ball to the weak side where the winger who can operate in a one-on-one before penetrating. Individual brilliance, of course, required in the box via chemistry, a simple transition overload system. And for me, I thought that breakdown was articulate. I thought that breakdown was accurate. And again, I could have just plagiarized that and said it was me. He just explained it. I understand how systems look. I'm maybe not the best at explaining them. I never profess to be the orator of all things football. But I love what we were doing tonight, switching that play, creating space, overlaps, underlaps, the fullbacks inverting at the right times. And then what you had with Garnacho and Palestri, they both hugged that touchline. And in hugging that touchline, it created space for others. It was very good. Now, as I've stated already, I am not going to get overhyped. I'm not going to get gassed. This is how we're going to look every single game, but I want us to look more like this. That possession-based football, we know that's what the manager's trying to create based on the players that he purchased. We know he wants to win the ball high up on the pitch based on particular players that he purchased. Amrabat still to get fit. Mainu still to come back into this team. Mount today, look, again, I actually thought he had a good first half. I thought he played some really good balls. I think there's some really good touches. He's never going to be a player that dictates the play. So I'm not going to judge him on that. I'm going to judge him on that ball he did, the switch ball, as an example. That's what I want to see from him. I want to see him in phases. I want to see him as part of the build-up. A little flick here, a little trick there, opening up a door. I want to see him pressing and working hard and getting back into shape. I think that's going to be his function. And I want to see more of that. But overall, I was very, very impressed with Manchester United today. I want to see more of the same. I'm very excited about Amrabat. I told you all this guy is going to be a game changer, and you saw it in him today. Again, this was first half statistics. Staffy sent these through to me, and I might be stealing his thunder a little bit here. But this is just what we need at the club. I'm waiting for this to load in front of me now. I know for a fact he only lost the ball in that first half twice, and I don't remember him losing it at all in the second half. But look at this. Ground duels won 100%, 4 from 4. Possession lost only twice. Touches 72, which is a lot. 64 of the 62, the 64 passes attempted complete, 94%. Long ball accuracy, 5 attempted, 4 complete. The only kind of the element you say was poor was that wild shot he had. But that shot came at the end of the pattern of play, which we repeated multiple times in that game. Amrabat is going to be a serious player for Manchester United. He's going to elevate the team. He's going to be a game changer for us. And isn't it amazing that you build a stronger, more pressure-resistant team and you see the best come out of Casemiro as well? And I get it's one game, like I've stated, and I know the haters in the back will go, oh, it's one game, Terry. I know this, and I want to see more of it. But green shoots, green shoots, green shoots. Now, I am seeing a lot of you say Bruno is the problem. Listen, I'm going to say this to you all now. I don't care if you're a rival saying that. I don't care if you're a Man United fan saying it. There is no need to bring negativity to the Man United win. And you ain't going to bring me down with that negativity. I actually see here Sean, who's a Liverpool fan, says, so Rashford and Bruno are the problem, Terry. Your manager played everyone else. Looks to me like he said all positions are up for grabs. Personally, my feeling is, boys, I'm giving you a full rest tonight. I was happy you didn't need to bring them on. That was my personal feeling. But what I did like tonight, and again, if they can keep getting better and keep improving, I think Garnacho and Palestri spread the play on the wings. Rashford wouldn't do that as regularly. However, I'm not going to sit here and say they're the problem and nothing. We will still need them this season. But however, if we don't play them in the next game and we play this well, you're not going to see an upset Terry Fleurs, because I don't care about individuals. I care about the team. Josh here, one of our long-standing, look at that, 43 months as a member. You are a legend, Josh, all the way from NYC. He says, so thankful we had a comfortable home win. Great for developing patterns of play against lesser opponents, and we grew confidence. We did. I agree with everything you said. It was just nice to win comfortably, play well, smiling, so happy. Can watch tomorrow night's games and relax. and not feel any stress. Casemiro, Palestri, Garnacho. No Rashford, no problem, is what Dyke says here. That's a rival fan, by the way. Big up Liverpool. Yes, listen, I'm going to say big up Liverpool. You came in for Amrabat. It was all revealed today. But he said, wait, we might come Liverpool. We're waiting on Man United, and you guys have to go get Gravenberch. Gravenberch is great, by the way. I wanted both. But I am so happy he said no to Liverpool. I love this guy. I watched him at the World Cup deeply. Fell in love with him in that tournament. Being there, listen, I had a very great experience that night when Morocco knocked out Portugal. Being in and amongst thousands of Moroccans, thousands of Qataris, thousands of Tunisians, thousands of Ghanaians that were all there supporting that country at the same time. It was a beautiful thing to see. And just they talked about this guy. And ever since then, I want to see him at Man United. And so, listen, big up Liverpool. Thank you for not getting him. Nabil here says, King Casemiro, no more 007 for Mount. Also, Garnacho was amazing. He should start next game until Rashford finds his form. Listen, I'll say this about Garnacho tonight. Do you know what I really liked about him? There was times where he cut in, and I thought, don't shoot. And he didn't, and he passed it, and he kept the ball, and we recycled it better. We started to move again. It's key. And listen, I've said for a while, I think Garnacho's the truth. I think there's a real genuine player in there, and I was very happy for him as well. And yes, no 007 for Mount, no 007 for Højlund. At least we won't be getting that bit of banter. A Casemiro Amrabat midfield is looking very good. Amrabat is so comfortable on the ball. Bro, go back. There's a stat out there somewhere. I showed it last week. I think there's only 3, maybe 4 midfielders in the whole of Europe that were more pressure resistant than him last season. He's out of this world. Out of this world. This is the performance we were waiting for. Come on, glory, glory, Man United. It was. And look, we want more of the same, and we want it in the league. And interestingly, we play Palace again Saturday. So I'm intrigued to see how that goes. Then we're at home to Galatasaray. Look, we've got a good chance here to get 3 or 4 wins on the bounce, really start building up some momentum and some confidence. And I want that. This Joshua Jack says, best we played all season. The intensity from the front was excellent. The energy from the midfield was superb. Hannibal did a good job. I liked Hannibal tonight. On the ball, I would like a bit more from him. But his tenacity, his work rate was very good. And overall, the team worked hard. The team pressed, won the ball back. And I'm not even sure who else was on that bench today because I don't really look that often. He wasn't there, McTominay, and I was glad. I thought Gore came on. And I know it's one performance, but I've had the impression from McTominay recently like he doesn't want to be here. Bring on Dan Gore. Play Mainu. These kids want to make it. They're going to work. At the very least, they're going to work hard, which should be the bare minimum that you expect. So I agree. Terry, why do you think Erik ten Hag is getting on, excessive amounts of criticism 5 games into his second year at United? Because he's managing the biggest club in England. He's managing the most famous club in the world. He's under more pressure, more scrutiny, more eyes than anybody else. Right, we're everybody's biggest rivals. Everybody's. Newcastle fans had their first Champions League game in 2 decades. And this is not meant to sound morbid, but it's deep. 2 of the key features of their last Champions League win are not even alive anymore. As sad as that is, that's how long it's been, right? And they were singing about Manchester United before the game. Show me any other club that goes through that. You don't. That's why the pressure's there. Plus, we as fans have to have high expectations to continue improving. So we must put him under scrutiny. And Staffy's going to say this when he comes out. I don't want to plagiarize. It's not my style. But as critical as he's been, it's let's wait and see until the manager's players are starting. And tonight, let's look at the starting lineup. I'm going to refresh my screen so I can get this right. Manager's players. Onana, Amrabat, Varane, I would put as a Ten Hag player. Casemiro, Mount, Garnacho. That starting lineup, I would say his players. The rest of them, I'm still not convinced he wants Palestri long-term, Martial, Hannibal yet. Dalot, I'm still not sure if he sees him as a long-standing player. Look at the improvement. We brought on just one player that you could argue is a guy that you want maybe in the long term in Dan Gore, maybe. The rest, I think he'll move on. When you start adding maybe Bruno's and Rashford's back to this as an example, Højlund starting these games, I think you'll see more of his football come out personally. Did you see Fab's tweet, Terry Osherman? No, is that about Chelsea or something? I'll have a little look later, bro. You keep thinking I have an agenda for Bruno and Rashford when I keep telling you we play better football without them. Legendary villain. It could be true this time. But let me just say this to you now. Every other time, and it isn't a Bruno and Rashford thing specifically, there's been times where people have said, if we drop McFred, we get better. In the last 4 or 5 years, we didn't. If Rashford comes out this team, we improve. He spent months out injured, didn't get better. There's been games where we're like, well, let's drop Bruno, we'll be better. He's on the bench, or he doesn't play, or he's suspended, and we lose. A lot of defeats come when Bruno's not playing. We've gone through this with multiple players. Maybe this time round, under this manager with the new players purchased, we will improve with them out of the team. And you could be right. But it doesn't make your claims prior to this correct. Because up until now, no matter who dropped out, who we signed, who played, up until Ten Hag, there's been no evidence of any of it being true for anybody, personally, my friend. 72 passes for Amrabat. That's stats for Scott McTominay after 3 games. Don't want Scott playing again. Just waiting for all the players to come back. Evans nearly scored again. He did nearly score again. And but listen, let Johnny Evans against this level of opposition will do a job for us. One person I want to credit because this was important time for him to make an interception by Maguire was key, because if that goes in, the pressure heats up. Spot on, actually. Maguire was good tonight. Maguire was very good tonight. Credit where credit is due. He had a very good performance. And yeah, that interception in the opening 10 minutes, massively key. Martial scored. That's a bonus. Listen, and again, if we could get Martial back fit, scoring some goals, we need him. Although I want better in the long term, I'd rather have a fit and scoring Martial than the other dude that jogs around the pitch. So there we go. Listen, peeps, I'm going to bring out the panel now to come on and have their say. Please make sure like buttons are being smashed. Make sure you are subscribing as well. Welcome back, Jen. And maybe the first time all season we've all smiled.
Yeah, man. It's good to be on a match reaction after you win a game and we played well. It wasn't scrappy. It wasn't horrible. It wasn't like hard to watch. Nice and comfortable. We absolutely love to see it. Like being able to sit there and watch us keep possession well. I was just happy overall. It was a good performance. But I'm not going to get carried away. The one thing I will say is I don't think Crystal Palace came to Old Trafford to win tonight. I think they're like, screw it. Put out a second string team. Make sure we don't get battered. And we'll just go home. We've got to focus on the league. We've got to focus on the game. Where they come back on the weekend, which for them will be more important than this game where they're going to go in the cup and probably not win it. So it was an easier Crystal Palace side. So people coming out and saying, oh, the reason why we played better is just because Bruno and Rashford didn't play, and this team should be the one moving forward. This is how we will play football forever now. If these guys are dropped and these guys are playing, we need to relax. We need to relax. We look good. I was happy with the performances, but do you not think the reason why we played so well isn't because Bruno and Rashford weren't playing, and it's more because we actually had energy in the midfield. We actually had legs on the pitch. We had some players that can retain the ball and some players that are direct. We had actual balance in this Man United team that we have not seen in a while. Casemiro did not look old today because guess what? He had Amrabat, he had Mount, he had Hannibal all around him. Garnacho, Palestri, all around him with legs and energy. So I want to see a team with the Brunos and the Rashfords with these other guys in there. I want to see a whole fit squad, because imagine we're game 1-0, we're up, we're under pressure a bit, need a bit of energy. You know what? Mount, you can come on. Or if Mount started, Hannibal, you come on. Or Mainu. Or Amrabat. Or you know what? Maybe Rashford is on the bench. Garnacho comes off, Rashford comes on in attack. It's all good thing here. You know what I'm saying? So I don't see why people have turned this into, yo, let's take shots at this guy because he's crap now. And look at this team. We're so much better now. But everyone relax, man. Because if Rashford and Bruno played the same game against Crystal Palace and scored or got an assist, they'll say, well, this Crystal Palace team didn't really try against us. You know? So the excuses will come out then. So happy for the win. Let's build on this. This is what we say when we was waiting for people to come back. Varane was back. Maguire was back. Those two today, solid. Evans and Lindelof, solid. People who are fit and available, everyone was solid today. And that's what we've been missing. We've had 12 injuries in the opening 8 games. That's mad. We're getting our players back. We're finding some groove, and I hope we go from there. So, United fans, let's use this as a platform to actually start supporting the damn team where we can. Please. Thank you.
I hear you, bro. And Staffy, I want to come to you next because you're someone that has been critical of the club in exactly the right way. You've challenged things, but you've always remained. Let's wait until our players come back before we start throwing baby out with that bathwater.
Hey, Deezy, what are you doing? What Terry said was correct. Don't even play with me, boy.
Minus Casemiro, but carry on.
Okay. I'm so happy that this is how we started the show. I have no problem answering this. When I spoke about Casemiro, I spoke about a specific role in this team. I didn't say this guy should retire. I didn't say just sell him, by the way. I said sell him to Saudi because I was looking at the money at the time, and I knew I could have reinvested it. But what happened today, by the way, doesn't prove me wrong. It proves me right. Listen, this is how I wanted to start the show. And I'm going to say his name in his native language. Sufyan Amrabat, welcome to Manchester United. Because I've been waiting on you, okay? I've been waiting for a while. I've been talking about you, but they didn't know who you were. They thought you were just that track back merchant from the World Cup who just tackled Mbappe. And I was like, no. You guys got it wrong. That's not who he is. He's much more than that. And they're like, oh, did you watch more than the World Cup hype? Ha. All right. You seen him today. And I'm upset that Cam is not here from the last show. I even texted KJ. I was like, make sure Cam is here. Not you, Cam. Not Canadian Cam.
England Cam.
English Cam. Yeah, not you. There was a Cam over here that I said here.
Cam? Oh, you'll meet him soon. Don't worry. It means he can't make it.
Listen, with the way he was talking last week,
sorry.
With the way he was talking last week, Cam, or last game, he's the B-Tech Cam compared to you because even you don't say what he said. Listen, this guy sat here, and I tried to explain to him, don't expect a style of play with the likes of McTominay running your midfield. And he told me it's excuses. And I kept explaining. And all he said, excuses. Today, Terry, you read out the stat about Amrabat's passing. This guy today, he misplaced 3 passes in 61 minutes. I think he had a conversion rate of 97%. This is what I've been screaming for this team. Someone to show to the ball, pick up the ball, and just do that number 6 role. I know he started as a left back, but he wasn't. And Terry, I messaged you before the game. I was like, yo, keep an eye on Amrabat. He's not actually a left back today. You'll see how much he inverts into that midfield. And he did it perfectly. And Deezy, since you wanted to mention Casemiro, today Casemiro looked excellent. You know why? Because he didn't have to do that regista role on his own. It was Amrabat doing it. Amrabat was like, I'm going to facilitate. I'm going to stay behind you. Whenever you have to go forward, don't worry, I'm here. And even when Casemiro did it, Casemiro still did a part of his game. But you see when Casemiro has to split the duty with someone else, because a lot of people said he wasn't a lone 6. He's never been a lone 6. And people mistook what he used to do in Madrid as if he was a main number 6 who advances the play. He never did that. He used to be advanced up the pitch. He doesn't progress the play. And today he did that. The man got a goal and assist. And it just shows me that when he has a 6 next to him, he can unlock him. Now, you can say that about a lot of people, by the way, and which I'm good with, because I'm looking at some of these players. I can't tell you who's the main starting midfielder when Amrabat starts in that midfield. Because yes, today he did invert in. We will do this a lot, by the way. We're going to sacrifice one of the fullback positions to have one of our midfielders invert into that midfield. But listen, it just shows me today how much when you have a competent number 6 in your team, how much it can make everyone else look better. And listen, I'm not one of Bruno's biggest fans, but even Bruno would have looked good in this team today because we were able to keep the ball. We were able to take the ball. When Onana was looking for a pass, he didn't find McTominay hiding. He found Amrabat, telling him, here, give me the ball. Amrabat moves with the ball. Here, link up play, 1-2, 1-2, 1-2. They were pinging balls to the right side of the pitch, that full first half, to Palestri, to Dalot. The whole team's dynamic changed the minute we added one more midfielder in that midfield, and actually was a good midfielder, because I love Eriksen, but Eriksen, you can't do this job anymore. McTominay, I don't want to see you on the pitch anymore. Even Hannibal, I'm sorry. I mean, he didn't have a good game today, but I'm not really going to dwell over the negatives today. But I'm very happy to finally sit here and tell people I told you so. I told you so. I spoke to you about the importance of a 6, the importance of having a 6 that could do the role instead of Casemiro, or next to Casemiro. And listen, people are going to sit here and say, well, it's only Palace. Well, when I was telling you it's Burnley, and we're not going to do anything against Burnley because it's McTominay, they said it doesn't matter the opponent. If you have a style of play, you should do it against any opposition. The last time I checked the league, Palace are ahead of Burnley. So technically, we played a better team. But the difference is we had better players that can do what the manager wants. So if people wanted a style of play, Terry, like you said, we had to wait. Today we waited. We got a few players back. We got Mount back. We got them back. And listen, we looked good, and I have nothing to complain about. Hopefully, as we move forward, we see more of this.
I agree. I think what's interesting is that there'll be lots of games this season, especially at home, where I'll be very comfortable with starting Amrabat on the screen as a left back and then have him invert. I'll be very, very comfortable with that, especially when we have nearly 70% of the ball. What's very interesting for me, though, today is that I think we tried to play this way against Wolves. I think we tried to play this way against Tottenham. But our fullbacks, especially with Shaw and AW, these guys were standing so wide and weren't inverting that our midfield was being run through. Today, you literally almost Amrabat in that first half was doing what Zinchenko does for Arsenal as an example, and it gave us that extra body in that midfield area, and it was key. And I think that a lot of people have said they don't know what Ten Hag has been trying to do. And I got to a point where I stopped defending it because it was almost, I felt like King Canute asking the tide to go out. People just didn't want to see that he was trying to do something that was possession based. And again, today is a reason why you see, I look at today and go, but today shows why he wanted Onana, because he also needs that, which is why I think after 5 games, it's okay to criticize the games individually, but I felt there was far too much of an overreaction. I felt there was far too much. This is it. What we've seen in the first 5 games is what the season is going to look like. And we just know that that's not, we're not in true for loads of reasons. Look at Chelsea. They've had the most possession in the league, 67%. But any Chelsea fan that doesn't believe that's going to drop by 10 to 15%, once they've, again, 6 games in, once they've played Brighton and City and Liverpool and Arsenal and Fulham away and Newcastle away and Man United away, they're not going to have 67% of the ball across all their games. It's going to drop to mid-50s, maybe high 50s, a push as an example. So you can't look at everything and every metric after 5 and 6 games and go, this is the pattern for the season, especially when a team, even looking at today, Wan-Bissaka's still out, Shaw's still out, Maino's still out, Malassia's still out, Ahmad's still out, Martinez still out, and Anthony and Sancho, we know what they're not out, but they're missing for different reasons. You look at that and I think to myself, Shaw could play in a team like this. We know that he can. Whether he starts in a centre-back role and pushes out, or whether he starts at left-back, I think Mainu will do well. Martinez, how much is Martinez going to benefit from having a player like Amrabat in front of him on the ball when that's what he's key at as an example? And look, Palestri, I thought did well today. I'm still intrigued to see Ahmad get a go in that position because we saw what he did. Deezy, what are you saying, my G?
I think what's it called? After the buying game, I think I said, our season essentially starts again on the weekend, and we got the winning.
No, let's get it right.
Wait, let me finish.
You said our season was done, my brother. You can't start off with Cap.
Hold on.
Hold
on. I said, as far as competing for anything meaningful this season, our season is done, and I stand by that wholeheartedly. But our season has to start again on the weekend, which was Burnley, and we have to put together a run of 4, 5, 6 games where we win on the bounce, build some confidence, and start to look like something of a team. Because up until this point, we have not looked like a team that looks like they want to do anything. You know what I mean? And obviously, the Burnley game was the Burnley game. I think we played trash, but we got the win. Today was more dominant. Today was what I was hoping we would get when we signed Ten Hag. Today was us being on the ball, us dictating how we want to play, winning the ball back high up, creating more chances. And I think if we can see that another 4 or 5 times, I think a lot of the naysayers and a lot of the haters will go quiet. I think as far as today, I was really happy to see that he rotated it. I think Ten Hag's learning the league. I think the mistake that he made last season was playing the same players in every competition over and over again, running them into the ground. And I think he's learned that you just can't do that in the Premier League because every game is a slog. Every game's tough. And when it starts to build up, the players just don't have the legs to keep going at the rate that he wanted them to. So, to be honest, today, there's nothing to complain about. Martial scored a goal, which was wild. That was interesting. that was interesting. Garnacho got on the score sheet. That was lovely. Casemiro looked like good old Casemiro. When I tried to tell you people that games are won and lost in the midfield and having one man trying to do all the jobs in the midfield, then he might look suspicious because he can't do all of them. But yeah, there's nothing to complain about today. I'm quite happy, to be honest.
Yeah, he had Amrabat hold his hand. Like I told you, he usually needs someone to hold his hand. And I got called a dumb American when I said that.
Let's keep this normal here. It's
that.
not, guys. I was just going to say, this isn't about holding hands. This is not UFC. This is not boxing or tennis. This is football. It's a damn team sport. Everybody, listen. As great as Messi was, I guarantee you he doesn't win the Champions League if he was playing for Leyton Orient. Guarantee you.
Fact.
So and you need a good team around you.
It's about having the right balance of players, and I think Ten Hag was still tinkering with trying to find the balance. And to be honest, I wouldn't be surprised if he gets it wrong a couple more times in the coming weeks, because as everybody gets fit, I would not be surprised at all if he tries a combination of midfielders that just doesn't work and we get overrun again. But I think it's about having players that complement each other as opposed to expose each other's weaknesses. Hopefully Amrabat gets more starts because I love the guy. He looks really good. He looks really good, to be honest. And it's been a good day, to be honest.
It has been a good day. We're gonna go to some super chats soon. Canadian Cam's here with us, the original Terrace Cameron.
Not the
Right.
B-Tech one, not the B-Tech one.
Right. Going on years now. I forgot how long. Speaking British by this point. Anyway, my takeaways from the game, because I saw I didn't see the full first half, but I saw the second half, and I saw parts of the big parts of the first half. I think what people have been harping on, and I've heard a bunch of you say it, is kind of this whole notion of a style of play. Like, it's not sustainable winning games the way we played against Burnley. I think anybody with a brain knows that. But I think one of my biggest takeaways is Scott McTominay should never play for United again after watching this game. Ever. We have the options now. Like, Hannibal has proven he can play in the role. Like, he didn't have the best game today, but he was solid. He was better than I've seen Scott since the halfway goal. Like, straight up. Like, that's the last game. I think he was on for 5 minutes in that game. And that's the last great moment I can remember from Scott McTominay. So when you start thinking about what Ten Hag's been up against, and something I think, you always say it, he's been overachieving. I don't care what anybody says. When you look at the players he's had to put out there and who he's had to trust, and people are like, well, he's putting Scott out there. Well, yeah, Hannibal is only 20 years old. So maybe he didn't fully trust him yet. Manu's 18, but we've seen enough from him to know that he'll probably be able to step into that role. And now, most importantly, is Amrabat, who Mo has been telling anybody who watches the Terrace for the last 2 months or whatever, if we get this guy, we are going to see a complete difference in our midfield. And to plagiarize Rachel, we finally have an actual central midfielder in there. We've tried to shoehorn Christian Eriksen in there. We've tried with the Mounts. All these guys they're more attacking mids. It's not what they do. They're not the recyclers of the ball. It's not their style. They always look for the home run path. They always look to create. That's what they do. So when we put an Eriksen in there and we're like, yeah, but you got to be the main retention guy. You've got to be able to have those legs in you. Obviously, it's not going to be the case. So if you watch football, you know these things. So watching what Ten Hag did last year with the squad, for me, was an overachievement, but it was great. I'm happy about it. When I think about the fact that this inverted overrun in the midfield could happen more and more, I look at when we play a team like Crystal Palace, everyone's like, oh, there's just Crystal Palace. Well, we had our B team out there too. The fact is, we're going to play a lot of just Crystal Palaces. You don't play Arsenal every week. You don't play City every week. We need to be able to batter these teams. We need to be able to go in there and be comfortable. I don't want to be on skates like I was watching Burnley being like, I can't believe we just won this off of a wonder goal from Bruno, right? I don't want that. I want to be able to watch some games and be very happy and comfortable and chill and just know we're going to see it out. We're going to get the goals because we're going to create the opportunities. We create a ton of chances. We really do. We have been for a while. If you look at the numbers, stats don't matter. Well, the chance creation is a pretty important stat that matters, which actually tells you what's going on in your team. We just have not been able to finish because when we create the chances, who's on the pitch, it's not the right players. For me today, just kind of shows what Ten Hag really probably wants to do with us and how I think he's going to move forward. Now, if If on Sunday he starts Scott McTominay, I'm going to be extremely angry, and that's probably the first time you'll see me come
Scott
for him.
McTominay is not gonna.
No, but it would be like I have not came from it at all. I've been very calm. I've been like, the man's using what's there. Now that Amrabat's there, Mount's back. Mount looked good today. I don't think anybody can say Mount didn't look good today. I think he did what he's supposed to be doing. He had some great spots where he created. Seeing a score on a cutback was beautiful. There's just not be scored on by a cutback. Seeing us actually have passages of play, it does feel like eventually we will get there. It's just one game. And one other thing that I think is extremely important to take away is, with all the negative and toxicity around the club and everybody saying there are first team members who don't agree with how he's treating Sancho and all that shit. I'm sorry, but when that shit's true, like in a locker room, when those things are actually true, you see it on the pitch. When players give up on a coach, you see it. If you ever watched this under LVG, if you ever watched this under Jose, you've seen players quit on their coach. Like, you've seen it. Those players out there did not quit on the coach. Not one of them looked like they did not, like they were out there playing hard. And that is the biggest takeaway for us, because we need harmony back in our dressing room. Like, all the reports are always going to come out. We know this. We lose one game and it's going to be the world's falling down. We're Man United. That is life. And just the results we've had. And I've been trying to tell people calm, yes, I'm not happy we lost to Arsenal, but we lost to Arsenal by inches, in my opinion. Garnacho's goal goes in, and I think that's a draw. I do think they would have probably came back and scored, but I think that's a draw. And that's inches, right? Bruno finishes that header. That's inches, right? These are small margins, which is what the game is. So yes, we lost those games, but I look back on it and you really analyze it and you're like, one thing goes the other way, and all of a sudden our season is not in dread. So I've been calm the whole time. I've been saying there's still time, and there truly is still time for us to be the team everybody is going to say, we expected this of you. That it's going to happen when we go.
Well, that's why I asked it yesterday on the top 6 show, because 1 minute the rhetoric was, you man are done. This is how bad your manager and team are. So okay, so where do you think we'll finish? Can it be turned around? And how embarrassed would you be if we finished in front of you? And the rivals, not on the panel, but in the comments, hated that question, because they never want to be held to account when it comes to Man United opinions. And I think that's right. And like a lot of people tonight, Bruno's the issue. Now, I'm telling you now, Bruno was playing tonight. We had 14 attempts on goal. I think we'd have had about between 20 and 25, maybe not as high as 25, if Bruno was out there. Because the difference between him and Hannibal would have been his ability. And listen, that's what people always ask, what's Bruno, where does he excel on the ball in football? Well, he excels in and around the 18-yard box with through balls and crosses and creating chances to a level that only KDB in the last 5 years of top flight football has been able to match. No other midfielder. And by the way, not as if our team's been great in that time. All periods. You put Bruno, listen, maybe the Rashford comments are fair, especially with hugging that touchline, spreading the play, which enables the room for the overlap. But in terms of Bruno Fernandes in that 10 tonight, I think we create even more opportunities and chances. You also would find that you're not too worried about him losing the ball when attempting these things, because he's got a team that's got that energy behind him to win it back quickly, which is what City do for KDB, who loses the ball as regularly as Bruno Fernandes does as well. On Mount, a few people have spoken about that as well. Listen, we all said, and it's one game, so we're not getting carried away, one of Mount or Kai Havertz was going to deliver for their clubs. If Mount could put in this level of performance most weeks, I'd honestly be happy with him. If he plays like this, again, we'll never talk about him as, oh my God, he's world class. But tonight, he was a very good component of the team. He got the assist from the corner. Listen, if you can put good crosses in like that, be involved in our play, press well, help us keep the shape, I'm happy with Mount being at this level every game. Genuinely happy with him being at this level every game. I won't bat an eyelid and I'd say, yeah, good signing for £65 million in this era. Go on, mate.
Sorry. I think there's a role for Mount in this team, and I think on that right hand side where we have a clear gap, and it's kind of like Russian roulette of who's going to play there. Even if we play with right winger, we sometimes play a diamond now because of Anthony and Sancho. I think Mount on the right would be good, because then you can fit in Amrabat in the midfield, not necessarily starting him on the left. I think Sergio Reguilon has started very well his life at Man United as a left back. You have Reguilon left back. You have Mount on the right. You have Amrabat and Casemiro in the middle with Bruno in that 10 role. Rashford on the left, and potentially Rasmus Højlund up front. I think you've got a decent, solid team there. I think there's something to build off there. A team that can win games, team that will have energy, because I think Bruno, Mount, Amrabat, and Casemiro will all work hard. I know there's an issue with Rashford right now in terms of does he work hard enough? But I think when you've got a team that is balanced and has enough energy, you can have the one player that may not work as hard. Because Martial today, no one's complaining about his lack of pressing or his lack of getting stuck in and battling, because guess what? He had all the other team players around him doing all that hard work for him, and he could do what he's good at, which is linking play. So there is time, and there's a team there to get to what we can do with Ten Hag, which is, we know the bare minimum is top 3.
KJ, on the Rashford point, which like everybody knows I love Rashford, but at the same time, like I'm not gonna when he plays bad say, you know, it's okay. But realistically, the one thing about Rashford, and this isn't a dig, Rashford is a confidence player. Plain and simple. He is. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. When things are going well, Rashford is really good. When they're not, he has off games. And I think when you're in a team, and this is where people are like, he's greedy, he's this or that. Well, people forget last year Rashford had to carry us, right? So I think in his mind, he accepted that money. He accepted that role. Rashford believes he's got to be the one to carry us through games if we're not doing well. I truly believe that's why sometimes he comes off as greedy. And that's, yes, it's not the right thing to do a lot of the times. But if you put him in a team where everybody you can trust around you is playing well and doing well, I do believe we'll see a very big difference in the types of games we get from him, because just on him.
Tonight, I think everyone going in on Bruno and Rashford again, it's just people trying to put a negative spin on a good performance from United. Staffy, I wanted to ask you about Mount. I know you kind of touched on him. I know you and I share a similar opinion that we just weren't sure about this signing. Is what you saw from him tonight enough if he puts in a performance like that in most games, or do you still want considerably more from him, or is it just about consistency at this level?
No, he did well. I didn't really speak about him a lot because I wanted to focus more on Amrabat and Casemiro, and obviously not hog the mic too much for everyone to talk, and maybe them touch on Mount. I think he had a very good game. And here's the thing with Mount, Terry, I didn't want the signing, and I think I was maybe more vocal than you about that. But ever since we signed him, that I stopped giving him criticism. Even when we were losing, I was like, well, I'm not going to criticize him because I don't think the manager is using him right. So I laid off Mount, to be fair. I don't have to keep, tweeting about him every day and say, no, Mount didn't do anything wrong like a lot of other people did. But I just laid off until I see, okay, how is he going to look later when certain issues behind him are going to get fixed? And today I saw that when he has 2 competent midfielders behind him, he looked much better. And which is why I'm happy that I waited a little bit more than to just call him out after every game saying, see, I told you it's not going to work, because today proved, yes, it could work. Now, KJ was talking about him starting on the right. The question is right now to me is who's going to be the midfield moving forward. And I think the answer is also there for me. I don't think we have one starting midfield. I think we have proven that we have a selection of players that are very diverse, and a lot of them could play together based on the combination that we're trying to put on the day. So today, I think Mount complements what we did today because he was making up for that. Let's be honest, none of our left wingers are really hard working off the ball. Like Garnacho's not that, Rashford is not that. Mount staying on that left-hand side kind of makes up for that. And he's very good at dropping, interchanging with Amrabat. And I've seen it a few times today where Amrabat moves a little bit higher and then Mount drops in, picks up the ball. He even did it in the goal. He dropped deep, picked up the ball, did the switch. Amrabat was doing the same switch, but he also did it, and we got the goal from it. So it showed me that there's something going on over there. And even if Rashford, by the way, would have played today, there's not a lot that Garnacho is better than Rashford. I'll tell you that. So anyone who thinks that we only won today because Rashford wasn't there, trust me, if you don't like Rashford, then there's no reason to like Garnacho, because Rashford is way better than Garnacho. At least Rashford can hit a ball. So to me, Mount, one second, I was just gonna say, so to me today, Mount proved that he's not gonna be our main player in the midfield, which was my main concern, but he definitely has a role. If you put the right selection of the on the day of players, and it depends on who we're playing, because I don't think he can play 90 minutes every game. When we're playing oppositions like this and we keep more of the ball, and you need him for a lot of off-ball work as well, I think he's the man for it. Losing Anthony kind of cost us a lot of work rate in that midfield or in that just top half of the field anyways. Today, with Mount there, we saw that a little bit of that being returned, all the press and all that. So I think he's important for the team. I don't think he's going to be the main man in the midfield, but if he performs the way he was doing today, he definitely has a role in this team.
And you know what? You know what else it is? As far as Mount goes, I think a lot of people like to say, "Oh, I trust the manager, I back the manager," and these things until the manager does something that they don't understand. So for me personally, I think criticism is fair. I think having questions, having concerns is fair. I've had my fair share of questions and concerns about Mount, about the manager's tactics at times, about the starting 11 that he's used and how he's managed certain games. But like I said, trusting in the manager is trusting in the fact to say, I don't quite understand why you signed Mount. I don't know where your vision is for him, but I trust you to give you enough time to let's just see where the vision goes. And then we can determine how we feel about it later. Now, do I have my questions about Mount? Absolutely. Do I think that he's the right fit in all games? I'm not sure. But if the manager's saying that this is his guy, this is the 65 million signing that he wants, if you really trust in what the manager's trying to build, and if you really back the manager, you got to give him enough time to at least let his plan play out before you judge it.
55 million, by the way. Don't add that extra 10. Virals will use that.
Yeah. For right now. Ray here says, I think haters have bounded United together and look like we are turning a corner. We looked good today. Yeah, look, we did look good today. I'm not going to say corner turn for the season yet. I want to see it in a few more games. But Ray, I think it was a definite improvement. What formation was it? Well, it was 4-2-3-1 out of possession per se, and then it was like a 3-4-3 in possession. That's what it felt like. But the midfield was very fluid. Players changed position a lot. Kevin here says, I think a small negative today was why did Ten Hag keep players on a yellow too long? I think Hannibal should have been off earlier. Another day, Red could have sent him off.
I think Hannibal should be smarter, if I'm being honest, Kevin.
Yeah, he's young and exuberant, but I would say this, 97% of players that get booked don't get sent off. So it's one of those things where I get when it's your own team, but no, don't. But 97% of the time, so it takes out of every 100 players that gets booked, only 3 get a second yellow card. So I just don't know.
And he's known for being rash and aggressive.
Yeah,
today that yellow he got was even harsh. I think because it wasn't actually that bad.
I think that's why the referee. I mean,
the yellow he should have got was the one he didn't. The one where he dove in and they did a play on. That should have been a yellow. And I think the ref was like,
it's interesting though because the referee at no point sort of said last warning. I didn't feel at any point he was going to be sent off. It didn't feel like that to me. But I understand the question. Josh here says, world-class panel tonight. You lot are spitting facts and got the chemistry cooking like our Reds tonight. Thank you, brother. I appreciate that, Josh. Yes, exactly, Staffy. I'll come with experience. Comes with experience. He's young. I hear you on that, Kev. It's a good question, bro. Ganso here. So let's talk about Dalot. People over-exaggerate how bad he is defensively. He offers much more than AWB offensively and on the ball.
That's my guy, man. Dalot is my guy, man, and I've been telling you guys about this guy. Locked up Saka, locked up Mitoma last game. Did he play the Bayern game? I don't remember much about the Bayern game. But anyways, looked good today. I mean, that right hand side looked good today. Yeah, I'm trying not to remember the Bayern game.
He was high up the pitch today.
He was so high up the pitch, and I was just sitting there. I'm trying to understand why he's so high up the pitch, and every time we pinged that ball across, he was always there. And I'm like, is it because we were overloading the left that no one's marking the right and he's finding the right position? Overall, that movement between him and Palestra in the first goal where he overlapped and crossed, great assist. I mean, he since he's been back since the Arsenal game, I know they made fun of him in the Jesus goal, but there's nothing he could have done there. The guy had to make a tackle regardless. I think he's been flawless since he came back, you know? No, I know, KJ, you love everyone Bissaka. Some of you guys are AWB fans, but I've been telling you guys about this guy, Dalot, and I know that he fits the way that we play today. He fits it a lot more. And I'm glad to see that he's gaining that form that he had last year before the World Cup, because if you remember, he was saucing before the World Cup and then he got injured.
Yeah. And to be fair, listen, it's not a Aaron Wan-Bissaka is the best and screw Dalot. I think with both of them, they both go through this form where one's on it and the other's not, and then vice versa. And both of their attributes are the opposite of each other. Like if you could meld AWB and Dalot into one, you probably get like the perfect fullback.
But even defensively, he's been good,
But,
KJ.
but what I was gonna say is this season he's been very, very solid. Like I can't like be upset with him. To be fair, I'm more upset with some of the on-ball play that he's made, so especially some cross-field balls into midfield he tries to do. He gets intercepted a lot, but his defensively, I'm like, yo, he's switched on. And this is when people say Erik ten Hag does not improve any player, no one's improved. I'm just like, it's a lie. Because when Dalot was under Mourinho, when he was under Oli, this guy looked washed. This guy looked like, why did we buy him from Porto for 20 million?
Yeah.
Like, we had no idea why he was here. Like, sent on loan to AC Milan, barely did anything, and came back, and we're all questioning why. Ten Hag has come in from the beginning. He said, this guy is going to be one of my right backs. He said it from the beginning. I like him. I'm going to develop him. Gave him a new contract, and we're seeing the development of Dalot. And I'm happy with those development. Just how I am with how AWB is improved, I'm happy that Dalot's improved. And if going forward, these two can keep improving, and we got a interchangeable right back position, I'm cool. I'm cool.
And also, when you have a midfield like we had today with energy, it improves the by proxy, it improves the fullbacks defensively because they do less. They're not being caught out as much. They're not being required. When Liverpool's midfield was at its pomp, Trent didn't need to defend because the midfield was doing a large percentage of it for him. So when your midfield's awful, when it gets run through, your centre-backs and your fullbacks are being pulled left, right, and centre. Again, it's a team sport. There's a knock-on effect. There was a super chat that came through here, and it says, was that not a penalty on Palestri? Do you know what's interesting? When the tackle came in, I thought, that was almost such a good goal. And I'm also, by the way, just because I'm petty, I can't remember how many it was. I think it's only like 6 or 7 outfield assists Mount ever got for Chelsea. I'd love Mount to at least equal that in his first season with us, just for the banter, right? But then I was, good tackle. Then I saw the replay, and you are right, PJ. The defender took Palestri's standing leg out before he got to the ball. I personally do think we're looking at it back. It could have been. But look, with us winning 3-0, it's never going to be a talking point. But yeah, I do think it was a foul on him, to be honest with you. I only want to watch it back on the replay.
That Chris Richard brother has done it twice to us now. He did it to McTominay last year, where it should have been a pen, wasn't given a pen. And this year, obviously, it's fine because we got the corner and we scored from it anyway. But I looked at it, I was like, yo, I even said in the group chat, yo, that's a pen. Like that's a penalty.
You know what it is? I don't think there was VAR today.
No, there's no VAR in like the early
that's
rounds
why.
of the Carabao Cup. But I was
Okay, that makes sense then. Yeah.
If VAR viewed it, I think they would have given it, to be honest.
Yeah, because it was only when I saw it back. Because I said to my brother, I was watching my brother, I went, pen, and he was like, really? And we watched the replay, he's like, oh, no, he did. He took his leg. So, yeah, but he was unlucky. I thought Palestri did okay tonight. Like, again, I'm still not convinced by him.
He just needs to shoot quicker. The guy takes like 15 touches before shooting. I don't know why.
As well.
For me, it's his strength. He just looks, and again, it's not about his size because some small people are really strong.
All of our right wingers are so soft.
They just, all of them. It's like you blow on them and they fall over. There's no. Do you know what I mean? I don't know what they've got to eat, right? We've got to get them the right diet and they've got to be lifting them heavy weights. They've got to do something.
Plantain and dumpling, bro. That's what they need. Some pounded yam,
bro. Because at the end of the day, everybody can become stronger. It's one thing. It's not like teaching him to have a touch like Zidane. Everybody pretty much every athlete anyway can become stronger. It's a fact. With the right training, you become stronger. So get some more man. Yeah, got to be out there. Fabrizio has tweeted about Sancho and Ten Hag. Is he tweeted about them, or is he just repeating something that Ten Hag has said? Let me have a little look here on his feed.
There's something saying,
you know what's funny?
Bro,
Dave showed us something that I would have never thought I would say. But like, if we are going to play a back three sometimes in the future, Maguire is actually an option. And he actually didn't play bad
in the back three.
Only he played good. No, I'm not saying I want to.
I hear it. That's how he thrived at Leicester in the back three.
He thrives in a back three. So if you're going to say, okay, for whatever games we're playing, especially against the lower sides, and you need Varane cannot I wanted Varane off after the first half. Like Varane just can't play multiple games anymore. And Lindelof has injury issues. I can't see Johnny Evans out there. I'm sorry, he's just really old. And
he almost scored again.
I know, but like it's just like I get it.
Ages.
Not
The
against
man's
Premier
got a
League.
better chance of scoring a goal from a header than Maguire, and Maguire's been here for like.
Maguire actually
Nah, John-
had a role. He played his role today in the back three. I can't hate on it. Like, and
Look, listen, I look at it this way with Maguire. If
I love
Maguire
him, I
could
can't.
get back to his first 18 months form at Man United this season,
Sensational.
I wouldn't mind. But he needs games. But this is the thing. He needs games like tonight in terms of his own performance, but he also needs the team in front of him to perform, so he's not being pulled from pillar to post. And again, it's not a defense of Maguire per se, but when your midfield gets run through like diarrhea, like listen, you could put a world-class centre, you can put Van Dijk at his peak at Man United in the last 5 years, without midfield being run through the way it does, even he would get pulled out of position and get opened up. It's just the way it goes. Like, and that's not a defense of Maguire. I want better than him, but at the same time, when the team and the core becomes solid, everybody improves because it's a team sport.
I'll defend Maguire. I think I'm one of his biggest, like, get this guy out of here. But I think Maguire is an easy target. I think he does make I think he makes mistakes that are glaringly obvious. But I think the way that Ten Hag's handled it, if it goes well, I think it's a stroke of genius. Taking him out the line, making the team about everything other than Maguire, and slowly starting to re-implement him so he's not the focus. I think if he had tried to consistently play him through the terrible form that he was in, I think it would have just went terribly. I think with that, when the focus isn't on Maguire, and he doesn't have to be the star of the show, and he doesn't have to be Captain Fantastic, he's a useful player. And the first 18 months, let's not rewrite history to say that he was anything other than sensational for the first 18 months. He looked like the guy we was waiting for when that first year that he was here. So if he can get back to that, he could be a very reliable squad player. And with the injuries that we're picking up, we could actually use reliable squad players.
Yeah, if you remember our cup run last year in the Carabao Cup, especially, he was there nearly every game starting, and he was fine nearly every game. It's just when it comes to the big moments like Sevilla, you know what I mean, and all these other moments. That's when
he's crazy though as well. When he got injured and couldn't play in that Europa League final 3 seasons ago, Man United fans were gutted. Like, it does show how. That's why when people say he's been awful from day one, I will defend him and go, but that's a lie, because I remember the reaction to those injuries and those moments. So let's not pretend. But yeah, look, we'll see what happens with that one. I do want to say here as well, Amrabat spoken after the game, and I know this will warm the cockles of your heart, Staffy did mine. But he said here that since I was a child, I've worked for this. I've worked very hard my whole career, my whole life for this. To play here at Old Trafford is amazing. It's a Tuesday night and the stadium is full. It's fantastic. And I'm like, yeah, you can just tell this guy wants to be a Manchester United player. You know, to turn down Liverpool and Klopp to be here tells you everything you need to know.
I'm going to get an Amrabat jersey now. A replica one before anyone accuses me of funding the Glazers. I'm going to get a replica one.
Oh, you know what? Screw it, Fat Staffy. Fund them all you want, because our fan base don't flipping care. So why should you?
There we go. Listen, I want to thank all of our viewers, all of our super chatters, everybody that's hit the like button so far. My panel, as ever, absolutely top class tonight. Back tomorrow with more content for you. Please make sure like buttons have been hit and that you are subscribing to the Football Terrace. Until next time, take care. Goodbye. God bless. And I'll see you all again soon.